It's really me, guys. We're back. Before I recap, so just a little what's been going on with me. We have been moving. It was a last minute move. Not going to get too into details, but last minute move. Still on the same property we are, just different house, bigger house. So, just chaos, full on chaos. And my wife, was gone working. So being a little crip, and I don't mean like blood crips, I mean like crip, like I don't walk real well. So had to call in some troops, get some help moving, get my life back in order. But I'm back. Things were chaos and it's behind us, and now we're trying to get settled. So recently our little hometown, Taft, had El Dorado Days, and that is a big celebration that goes on for 10 days and 10-ish, 12-ish days, something like that. And we were trying to partake in that, got a little bit of the sickness going on. So that kind of took us out for a minute as well. But back in action. This is a space in the new house, not the space in the new house. So more changes to come. However, jumping back on, I was hit up and just so surprised by so many people at El Dorado, just people that I know but don't know. So that were hitting me up about, hey, when's your next episode? When's your next episode? So that was super refreshing and just awesome, because I know I kind of went off grid, and I apologize, but I'm back. So let's move on. Let's get back into this shenanigans. Little recap from the last episode. It's kind of a little blurry, and I'm guessing if you guys listened, you'll understand why I don't want to go back and revisit that one. That one was a rough one for me, but after just quick little recap, after putting my uncle in prison for molesting me, he was let out due to statute of limitation law changes. He was then resentenced because I had an amazing attorney that helped me get him on some charges that were after 1990. So the statute of limitations didn't apply anymore. So he was resentenced, put back in prison. So that ended up shaking out in my favor, thankfully, because I was very discouraged when it didn't, of course, and he was released. But everything went as planned. Our justice system, I wouldn't say prevailed, but it definitely gave me a little bit of hope back. So he was resentenced. Then a best friend of mine, Justin, passed away in a car accident in the last episode, and that was really, really devastating, really hit home, and really changed a lot for me, just as a person, as a friend, as someone to lose someone. I was 22 at the time, 23, and he was 20, and it was just devastating and a loss that will impact me for the rest of my life. And then Jennifer, my best friend, had her son in November of the same year that Justin passed away. And he was just a little guy. And so I got to be involved with helping her with him. And then, abruptly, my mom got cancer and passed away, and 8 days after she was diagnosed, she was dead. So that was the last episode. Not really trying to dig down that tunnel necessarily again, but that's where we left off. So when my mom died, she died on a Friday night. So it was at 10 o'clock on a Friday night. We go into, so we'll jump in now, where we left off. So my brother's still in town, Audie, and he stayed at the hospital. He took care of everything as far as what the hospital needed information wise. And then, we come home, and Saturday morning, Janice Dillingham, which is Justin's mom. Audie and I had never been a part of, sorry, my dogs are gonna make noise. But I was never part of planning a funeral. My brother was never part of planning a funeral. So I reached out to Janice, Justin's mom, that had just passed away, and asked her to come with us to the funeral home. And so she did. So it was myself, my brother, Janice, my best friend Jen, and Donnie went with us. And we asked Jen and Donnie to come with us, not just because they were our best friends, but because my mom thought of Jen and Donnie as her kids. Like that, she probably loved them more than she loved Audie and I, because she didn't really have to put up with their shit and they were good to her. And Audie and I were kind of turds every once in a while. So I think she loved Jen and Donnie a little bit more than she loved Audie and I, but we'll never know. So they all went with us. We get the funeral planned. We bury her on Monday. It was quick. She died on February 27th. We buried her on March 2nd, March 3rd. And we, it was one of those, didn't want music, didn't have a viewing. And I did that for not really selfish reasons, I guess, but just, she wasn't married. So it was like, Audie and I talked about it, and it was like, okay, our whole lives, so Clara was a jokester. Our whole lives, she joked about, like, if she ever died, she was terrified of fire, so that's why we buried her. We didn't cremate her. But she would joke and say that when she died, she wanted to be buried, and she wanted an open casket so that this is terrible, all the guys that have had her can see what they don't have anymore, and all the guys that haven't had her can see what they missed out on. Yeah, it's my mom, guys. But I thought it was hilarious, and so we actually, we were driving one of the days, Audie and I, and that was kind of a laugh moment for us. Like, remember when Mom used to say she wanted to be buried naked and whatever. Anyways, so the funeral was amazing for reasons like hearing people talk about her, or meeting people that we had never met that knew her or knew things about us. It made us understand how proud of us she was. But that was probably the only good part about it. It did give me closure. Not having her buried was super fucking weird for me. So that part kind of helped with closure. And then you guys have heard me talk shit about my grandma. Her name's Anne. And she was just a fucking terrible person. I have cousins that are like, oh, she was like our mom, or she helped raise us, or whatever. She helped raise me too. Doesn't mean she was a fucking good person. And that's where people say, oh, family over everything, or family's most important, or family, fucking family. Okay. So my family was huge, is huge. I talked to like this many people that I'm blood related to, probably. And it's not necessarily because I don't want to, but this little situation we've got right here. So when my mom died, my grandmother was at the hospital. Her sister was with her. Not when my mom actually passed, but her sister was in town. And so the day after, when I'm in the shower at my house where Jen and I live, I'm in the shower, and my grandmother and her sister are at my house. And so my grandmother proceeds to ask Jennifer how I'm doing, how Shauna, whatever. And she's like, Jen said, she's doing the best she can. And so my grandma said, yeah, well, she didn't do very well last night. She didn't react very well. And Jen said, okay. And she said, well, she kind of lost it, when she came in and Clara had passed. And Jen said, yeah, well, knowing someone's going to die and them actually dying, that's two different things. So she handled it the best she could. Jen didn't tell me this shit till months fucking later, which is a good thing because I would have snatched Anna by her fucking hair and punched her in her fucking nose. But my grandma just had a very classless way of being inappropriate and terrible and just never ceasing to amaze me. But we'll get to the next story because you guys, we're not even to the best fucking part of how terrible my grandmother is yet. So anyways, mom dies, bury her. I break up with Brad. I talked about that in the last episode as well. And then I started dating Donnie again because I felt like that's what my mom wanted. And, and Donnie and I, there was not a lot of love lost there, but it wasn't where either one of us needed to be or, in the big picture where we desired to be in the long term. So Donnie and I had still been dating during this time, and I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink for a few months. That was the first time in my life I really chose, okay, you're mentally just not okay, unstable as hell, like you need to not have alcohol in your life. So I didn't drink for a few months, and that was good for me. Like I really kind of started putting my foot forward in the direction of how I wanted my life to be and what kind of person I wanted to be and how I wanted to start living it better than I was. By no means perfect. Still had some setbacks. But I was definitely depressed. And I had dealt with depression before, didn't really, I guess, have a name for it or know that there were different variations to depression. But I was withdrawn for sure. I just kind of was working and going to school and just doing that, like throwing myself kind of into those things. Really threw myself into Trent. Like he was my little angel or lifesaver, if you'll have it. Like I tell him that all the time to this day, and I think he kind of giggles and laughs, but that little boy saved my life more than once, and he gave me something to look forward to every day and something to come home to every day. And he was just this happy, just energetic, beautiful little bald amazing baby, and he loved me. And it was just so easy, like so easy to come home and soak him up and not get lost in my depression or my sadness. And his spirit and his little life just gave me life, and I will forever be in debt to him for that. And I really, really hope he feels it and knows it, because he truly did mend and fill in this huge hole in my heart. So I love you and thank you for that. So just when I thought death had kind of trickled out and things were going to be cool, I'm at work and I'm working for the senior nutrition program. I was doing the Meals on Wheels thing. I was the supervisor there. So like I said, I was kind of enthralled in work and doing that, keeping myself busy with school and doing all these things. I'm at work and I get a call from Jen's mom, Connie, because she was actually a kind of liaison through work, and we're filling a big food order. So I'm on the phone with her and landline days, and her cell phone goes off, and she tells me, hold on, and she's on the other line, and I hear her and Jen's dad, Ken, talking, and they're back and forth, and it seems kind of serious, but I'm kind of busy, but I'm like, what are they talking about, And so I'm just waiting for her to get back on the line, and so she's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Well, so Kenny called Connie, they're talking, she gets off the phone with him, gets on the phone with me, and is like, hey, are you busy? And I said, well, other than doing this food order, not really, what's up? And she said, something's going on with Mike, can you go down to the house? Well, I look at the clock and it's like 9:15 in the morning, a.m. And I'm like, shit, well, he was supposed to come up here and he's not here. So yeah, so I get off the phone with Connie, I go down there. So I'm at the wreck in Taft, and he lives down off of, like, I want to say like 4th and, I don't know, Kern, somewhere in that area. So not far, like 3/4 of a mile from where I'm at, maybe. So I go down there, I get there, there's ambulance, fire trucks, like all kinds of shit. And I'm like, what is going on? So I walk up and Jennifer's dad's there. And I go in the house and there's paramedics, firemen everywhere in the back room. And their Aunt Wanda, is there. And she's a, elderly lady. And she's sitting on the couch, and I'm like, what's going on? And she's just kind of like, shaking her head, doesn't know. And so then we're like standing there, and they come out, and they're just like, the paramedics come out, and they're just like, we're sorry, we did everything we could. So I'm like, what? And me and Kenny were like, what? And me and Kenny are standing there, and they're like, we did everything we could, and he didn't make it. The fuck did you just say? Who didn't make what? So Mike Redfield, which is Jen's uncle, which is Jen's dad's brother, was sitting there getting ready to do his day, having a bowl of cereal, and fucking had a massive heart attack and died in his house. And this is in May. And so my mom died in February. We buried her in March. And Mike did a fucking fundraiser barbecue to help raise money to bury my mom in April, after she was already dead, because we were trying to recoup some of our money that we didn't have to bury my mom. And then he drops dead. So Ken asked me if I can go get Kayla from school. And mind you, Kayla Redfield is a 15-year-old little girl that doesn't have a mom, that dad and grandmother raised her. And now her dad just died, and I get to go pick her up from fucking school. So, I'm on her emergency contact for the school, and I drive up to the school, park right in the front, go up to the attendance office, and Pam McCormick's in there. She works in there. And obviously, I'm close with Pam and the McCormicks, and so she can tell something's wrong. And I said, hey, I need to get Kayla out of class, and she's like, what's going on? And I tell her, hey, her dad just freaking passed away. Please don't say anything, like, blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, oh my God, Shauna. And so they call Kayla out of class. I've never picked Kayla up from school before, mind you. So she comes in, and I'm sitting in the attendance office. And if you guys, I'm not going to explain the thing, but you guys, everyone that's familiar with Taft High knows how the attendance office is. So she walks through the door, and I'm sitting in the chairs by the phone that was on the wall. And she sees me, and she's like, hey, what are you doing here? And I had already signed the slip to get her out. So I was just like, oh, nothing, like, let's go. And it's early. It's fucking like 10:30, 11 o'clock. Something like that. And so it's before lunch, whatever. And so she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, nothing, let's just go. Like, we're going to go to the house. And so she's like, what are you doing? So we're walking, and we're in the hallway at this time, walking back down to go out the double doors of the high school in the front. So we're walking, and I don't remember whose classrooms were right there, but we get to that. We go out of the attendance office. We hang a right to go to the front of the school. And so we're walking, and I'm on her left. She's to my right, and she's super shorty. So she's quite a bit shorter than I am. And she just stops, and she grabbed my hand, and she's like, what is wrong? What is going on? Like, why did you pick me up from school? What is wrong? And I said, Kayla, I'm like, let's just go. And like, I got probably like this. And she just stopped, and she said, I'm not going anywhere until you tell me what's wrong. And she's like, Shauna, what is going on? And I just looked at her, and I shook my head, and I started crying. And she said, what is going on? What is wrong? And I said, it's your dad. And she just said, is he alive? She asked me if he was alive. And I didn't want to say no. But I just, I shook my head, and I said no. And I knew, like, I didn't know, but I knew the exact pain that little girl felt. And I broke her fucking heart, and I didn't want to. And then she just collapsed. Like, she just fucking collapsed and started screaming. And then the worst fucking possible thing that could have happened. The bell rang, and everybody got out of class. And so here, this little girl that just found out that her world was fucking changed forever and never gonna be the same, had to experience that in front of a bunch of fucking kids that she didn't know. I mean, she did, but she didn't. And, you know, it was just devastating. And I picked her up, and one of the school fucking security guards came over, and which of course with commotion you would, and was just like, took her, and I was just like, she's like, you're not taking her anywhere. And I was like, the fuck I'm not, bitch. So I just picked Kayla up and told the office, like, get her shit and get it in my truck. And I took her home to my house. And it was just chaos. Like, you don't, like, I felt so numb and just heartbroken for her, not for me, you know. Like, I loved Mike. I love Mike. I worked with Mike. I used to cater with him, and we would do horse shows and just all these different things. He was an amazing cook. And so to have that loss was great, but to, you know, I know it's a moment she'll never forget, but to break someone else's fucking heart that way is just, ugh. Like, So that was fucking terrible. And then that, I kind of, after that, I really took Kayla under my wing in some not so great ways. You know, let her party at a young age. Just felt like I had to. She didn't have a mom. She didn't have a dad. Like, I felt like I had to be there, influence her, do something. I don't know. But it was just like, fuck, dude, I can't. That was 3. The whole deaths in threes. That was my 3rd, and I was over it. Completely over it. So, that is something, I don't want to talk too much more about, because Kayla is going to be on my podcast at some point. But yeah, so that was fucking shitty too. So, at this point, I'm trying to just, what is normal? I don't know. I don't know what's normal. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know who else is going to die, because it feels like at any point someone can or could or should or will. So just shit, shit that I wasn't prepared for, and it sucked. And so still doing the whole work thing, going to school full-time, working full-time and part-time. And so I get this call from, I'm excited about this part, because now I get to stop crying and be fucking angry again. And anger is so much easier, right, than sadness. So I get a call from a number I don't know. Hello? Is this Shauna? Yep. This is Donna Jean. Oh, hello. How are you? Good. So, Donna Jean is a cousin of mine she's like, I don't know, I'm not going to number it, but she is my grandmother's sister's daughter. And she was older than my mother. I don't know by how much, but, she called her aunt. Like, it was her aunt, even though it was her cousin. But there was that much of an age gap. So, I got a call from her, and we're just kind of catching up. She lives in Michigan, and she's just kind of asking how things are going, and, how Audie and I are doing, and, this, that, and the other. And my mom's name was Clara Jean, and Donna Jean was named after her mom. I'm a Jean, which is my grandmother's sister. So my mom is named middle name after these 2 people, Ima and Donna. That's where the Jean comes in. So, that has nothing to do with nothing. I was just giving you a little backstory, I guess. But we're talking, catching up, and she's just like, I really wish that, you could talk to your grandparents. Your grandma's having a really hard time with everything that's been going on with you guys not talking. And, she's really struggling with your mom dying. And so I'm just listening to her, because she's sweet. I love Donna. She's a nice lady. Only been around her a few times in my life when I was quite a bit younger, but I remembered her. And so, and just respect-wise, no reason not to not like her. So, she's telling me these things, and, and I'm just like, kind of, yeah. And she's just like, she's just having a real hard time since your mom died. And I said, so am I. It was my mom. Yeah, I'm having a real fucking hard time with it. Also struggling. And she's just like, I just wish you guys could find a way to talk. And I know it's been years and whatever. She's like, I just think that there could be a way through this. And when this happened before, I said, when what happened before? And she said, when Toby did this before. And I said, when Toby did what before? So I'm not going to say names of my other two cousins, but Donna Jean fucking proceeds to tell me that... Thought I wasn't going to cry. Donna proceeds to tell me that when her daughter and one of my other cousins that was older, their daughter, both of them got molested by Toby. When Toby was a teenager. And they were like 7, 8 years old. So the same fucking age I was. He was like 15 or 16. And he was doing that, which, I mean, technically, yes, he was still a child, right? I guess at 15, 16, if that's what you want to call it. Obviously had some fucking issues, right? So he had been molesting people in my fucking family his whole life. And my cousin, at the time, back in this would have made it, he was born in 54. So this would have made it right around like 1969-ish. Told my grandmother, because my cousins told that it was happening to them. I don't know how he got caught. I don't know what made them tell. I don't know any of those details. But I know he molested 2 of my female cousins back in the 60s. They told my grandmother. My grandparents, my grandma and my grandpa John weren't married yet. So he wasn't around, so he didn't know. So my grandmother knew that her fucking son was a predator, was a child molester, was whatever you want to call him. And guess what she did, guys? She lifted up this fucking rug and she swept all that shit underneath of it. And then when her children started having children, she let her fucking grandchildren be around that motherfucker. So my grandmother, my biological fucking grandmother, put me on a silver fucking platter for her disgusting ass son to do whatever he wanted with. Like, oh, you're this terrible fucking human? Here's a perfect little baby to fucking have to do whatever you want to do with. So Donna says those words to me and I'm literally sitting, it's like I was removed from my body and I was up watching this shit happen. Sitting on the side of my bed and I literally just kind of like lay back and I'm just listening to her talk. And she gets done saying that and she's like, I really just think that there's a way that we can all come back together. Yeah, so are you kidding me? Literally, I literally said, what? Are you kidding me? She's known this whole time? I'm like, so you guys didn't tell Bob, my uncle, my older uncle that had 3 sons that thank God were never fucking molested by him? And then you let my mother, who had Audie, myself, and Justin, be around him? And then all the grandbabies after that? Like, thank fucking God he was gone pretty much after the other kids were born and not fucking around, because I probably would have slit the bitch's fucking throat if it would have continued in my family. when I found this shit out, so I said, yeah, that pretty much sealed the deal that I'll never fucking talk to those people again. Like, you just nailed the final fucking nail in the coffin. You gorilla glued that motherfucker, cemented it, chained it up, blocked it, and threw it into the deepest depths of the fucking ocean. That bitch could die for all I fucking care. And I still feel that way. And we'll get into her life later more, but I just couldn't. And I get off the fucking phone and I call Audie. He's in Sacramento, you know? And I'm just like, dude, just when you thought, bro, that our family couldn't be more fucked up, just when we thought we were out the weeds and we had stomped out some of this fucking disgust and moved on, nope, they doubled down. These motherfuckers done doubled down and told us some more shit. So that just kind of really, I mean, Audie was just like, you have got to be fucking kidding me. What is wrong with these people? Like, how in the actual hell can they think that any of this is normal or okay or warranted? You know, like, what? So, I hate my family. Hated. They're dead now. Thank God. Because people like that do not serve a purpose. I don't give a fuck what religion you are or believe in or where your moral compass is. People that let things like that happen do not have a fucking purpose in this earth, on this earth, for this earth. So if you don't agree, bye. I don't care. Deuces. Anyways, that is my fucked up family. And thank God, after that, I literally stopped fucking trying with these people as far as putting myself at risk mentally for them anymore or morally. I chose my friends. I chose who my family would be moving forward. Bye, Clara's family. Fucking deuces. Talk to like 5 of my cousins. That's it. And my brother. That's it. Bye. Love you, fucking mom, but you got some fucked up genes, bud. So yeah. So, during all this time, I'm really like, woo! You have got to be kidding me. So, drinking picks back up. It's been probably 3-ish months by this time since mom's died, and I find out all this stupid ass, crazy ass news, right? So, drinking's picked back up. Decision making's gonna come at a cost again here. But, you know, at this point, Donnie and I had split for good. This time it was for good. There was no more back and forth. And this is all happening kind of right at the same time. Mike dies. I find out my family's even more terrible than I ever could have imagined. Donnie and I split up. So doing the work thing, the school thing, really doing that, starting to party again and get back out there, right? Not interested in dating, not interested in anything really, just doing me. And then all of that kind of changed. So I had a few drivers that worked for me. One of them just so happened to be Jenna. And I'll just leave her name out. If you guys don't know which Jenna I'm talking about, then you're going to have to do your own research or ask some questions. But Jenna was one of my drivers. Jenna is somebody that I knew for years and years, prior to this. We were close. We were friends, but we weren't like besties by any means. She had been dating one of my friends, and they were going through their issues, small town bullshit. Here we go. Fucking bad decision making on my part. Here we go. But also good decision making. And I do have some regrets, but not a lot, not even one letter. Uh, um, so Jenna was somebody that like I always just joked around with. And one day, I don't know what it was, but she walked through work and we were always kind of sarcastic with each other, just smart assy with each other, you know. And she walked through work one day to go to the restroom, and like she said something smart ass to me. I said something smart ass back, and she like turned back and looked at me, and just the way she looked at me, I was like, uh oh. It did a little weird thing to my feelings. And I was just like, uh-oh. What was that? You know? So, you know, we talked on the phone, we were friends, whatever. Well, Jenna was going through her own bullshit in life. Obviously, all my bullshit I was going through, like, I was kind of just doing whatever. I don't know. So we started texting more, talking more, you know, on the phone. And it was just like one of those things where there was something flirty between us. I couldn't pin it down. I didn't know what it is, but eventually I just got ballsy and I said, check it out. When you show up to work tomorrow, I'm gonna kiss you. She was like, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I am. She showed up to work, guys, and I kissed her, and whoops. So this is kind of a real taboo. We're talking 2004. In the little town we lived in, there weren't a lot of homos. There weren't really any homos. And, you know, people always speculated, oh, you know, Shauna's gay, Shauna's this, Shauna's that. Fucking so many people interested in my life. Which, good for you. I'm glad I could entertain you all for a while. But Jenna wasn't in a situation where Jenna's like, oh yeah, I'm gay. I wasn't in a situation, I mean, I was taking the D on the regular. I didn't know what I was doing. I liked both sides of the tracks. I played just fine being that train and hopping on, hopping off, hopping on, hopping off. But Jenna, for some reason, you know, she woke something up inside of me. It seemed very safe, very no expectations. You know, we knew we weren't going to be together. We knew we weren't trying to have that life together, but nonetheless doesn't mean that we didn't fall in love with each other. Like, you know, and Jenna was the first time that, like, I really let my guard down completely with a human. And I'm talking completely. Like, you know, when I was with Donnie, I was always honest with Donnie. I was always open with Donnie. But I hadn't explored my sexuality to the point where I was like, could I really be with a woman? Like, in life, out in public? Like, could I truly date a girl and be happy and, like, want that life? And Jenna really ignited that for me. Jenna, you know, opened herself up to me in a way where she was very vulnerable as well. And we kind of, you know, found each other at a time where we were both going through so much shit and so much turmoil that had nothing to do with one another, that it was like we were each other's safe place, and we just kind of immersed ourselves in that for a year. And, you know, we had our great times, we had our ups, we had our downs, but we never lost love for one another. We're still friends to this day. She was at my wedding to my wife. She is a very good friend to me, a very dear friend to me still. I love her and respect the shit out of her. And, you know, Jenna really taught me that love can be gentle, very gentle. And, you know, I appreciate her, and I appreciate you, because I know you listen and you watch. And Thanks for being my dirty little secret, because you were. And I was yours, even though a couple people knew. We told a few of our friends, and everybody, speculated. We denied. And then guess what happened, guys? Guess what happened? Well, we decided we were gonna get crazy one night, and there was this little picture situation that happened, and those pictures got emailed out around the town. Our faces weren't in them, but guess what was? Some tattoos that both of us have. So our dirty little secret was exposed. People might have seen my butthole. I don't know. But, yeah. So Jenna was my first love that I could say really started to repair my heart in a way that opened me up to future love and to being me and to being accepted. And, just, I appreciate you and love you, and I appreciate the part you played in helping me find me. So yeah. So come out to a few friends with the Jenna Sitch and start kind of feeling more like me than I've ever felt in my life, right? Like, shit, maybe you are just gay. And then it's like, why do people care, right? Why do people care what my preference is? I don't know, but they do. So Jenna and I, we break up, we split up, we're cool. Of course it's emotional, bitches are emotional. That's what we do. We get emotional, but we remain cool and close. And so at this point, Jenna's kind of getting back to her life, doing the things she desires and likes and wants, and same with me. And Jenna, I had met, some new friends through Jenna because Jenna was a little bit younger than me. And so I meet friends through her. And when her and I split up, the partying's full force, raging against the machine. I'm back to messing around with Jenna, messing around with dudes again, just kind of doing what I want, right? And then in pops another life changer. And this one was a little bit different because this one kind of brought me out, shall we say. And by out, I mean, this is when I decide, okay, this girl, this different girl, this new girl that's pursuing me to get the freaking record straight, she's something different. She's a little bit of a force to be reckoned with. She is loud. She is not proud, not yet, but she does get there. But she opened my eyes in a little bit different of a way, and I had a completely different experience. And this is Priscilla. So I meet Priscilla through Jenna. Me and Jenna decide, okay, like, we know we're not going to be together. Like, are we splitting up? Yep, we're splitting up. Okay, whatever. Well, meanwhile, we're trying to keep the peace and everybody be cool and everybody still be hanging out and whatnot. Well, Priscilla and I, hanging out with their friends and their group of people, my groups of people sometimes. Priscilla decides that she thinks that I'm cute and she wants to make out with me, and she was cute. I didn't have feelings for her. She was a cool person, but I didn't have feelings for her at this point. So I'm just like, whatever. Well, so, we be drinking, we be making out here and there. She's always on my ass. Always, like, just trying to make out when she's drinking. She has a boyfriend at the time. So I'm just like, girl, what are you doing? You are crazy, but I'm drunk. You cute. Cool. Whoops. So we just start hanging out all the freaking time, and then guess what happens? We decide we're going to make it, and we're going to be together. So, yeah. So on goes the Shauna saga with ladies. And so this relationship, I'm like, are we really fucking gonna do this? Okay, we're doing this. So she decides she's gonna come out to her family. She's never dated a girl before. I'm not gonna, this is my life, not anyone else's secrets and stories to tell. So I'm talking about her life with me. But she decides she wants to tell her family that she's gay. So I'm like, fuck. Are we telling our families we're gay, bro? So we did. So she tells her family, I'm getting ready to turn 25. I'm getting ready to have a 25th birthday party. My friends got together, Courtney Dillingham, all the peeps. They have a surprise 25th birthday party for me, which was awesome. But so yeah, after that, like, I came out to my family after my 25th birthday party. I let my brother know first, and so I call, and he was the one I was most nervous about, telling Audie, because like, like I said before, Audie's my guy. Like, he's my man. He's my protector. He's always been there like my whole life, more than any other man, ever. And that's been the case and will be the case probably till the day one of us dies. But so I was so fucking scared to tell him. So I call him after my birthday party, right? And he's back in Sacramento, and he's with my sister-in-law that he's with now, and the mother of his children, Stephanie. Yes, love Stephanie. So they were at my birthday party, and they met Priscilla, but they did not meet her as my girlfriend. I was not out to them yet. So I'm like, I call him and I said, hey, like, I have something I need to tell you. And he's just like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm sure he's probably like, what now, Shauna? Jesus, I can't handle any more of your bullshit. But he's like, what's up? And so I was like, dude, and it was so hard for me to say. And I remember I was sitting at my desk. I was rocking back and forth in the chair. Like, I can, you don't forget shit like that. I remember where I was at when I told my dad. I was at the Dillingham's house sitting for them, getting ready to move to New Mexico with Priscilla. When I told my dad, I can remember where I was sitting, where he was sitting. Anyways, I'll tell you that in a minute. So I'm like, hey, so, because my family didn't know about Jenna at this point either. They didn't know I dated Jenna yet. I didn't find this out till probably fucking 3 years ago. Anyways, God, I'm all over the place. My poor wife. So I'm like, hey, I'm dating a chick. And he's like, what, really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do we know her? And I was like, well, you met her at my birthday party, but you might not remember her. And he was like, who is it? And I'm like, it was the girl Priscilla. And he's like, oh yeah, she's cute. And I was like, yeah, duh. I don't date ugly chicks. Fuck. And so he was just like, well, are you happy? And I said, happier than I've ever been. And he said, that's all I want for you, is to be happy. Audie coming in fucking clutch again. Audie doing clutch things as a brother. So yeah, so that was that. That went great. And so this is in September, October-ish. So then Priscilla decides she's moving to New Mexico. So we're dating for like 10 minutes. And this MFer decides she's leaving the state. So I'm like, well, my mom died. I don't have any family here anymore, like in Taft, that I'm hanging out with or close to or like, because my grandparents suck assholes. And I was like, there's schools in New Mexico. There's jobs in New Mexico. Am I moving to New Mexico? We decide I'm moving to New Mexico. So she rolls out there. She lives there for a couple months. I decide I'm finishing the semester at college in Bakersfield, Taft, whatever. So I finish out that semester and I freaking pack my shit up. My dad comes down to Taft to say goodbye. And he comes over to the Dillinghams where I was house sitting. And I tell him, Dad, I'm moving to New Mexico. He already knew when he came to visit. That's why he came to visit. But I was like, I'm moving there because I'm gay. And I'm moving there because my girlfriend moved there. And I just want to go see what's in New Mexico. Turns out not a whole fucking lot. Not a whole lot. I wouldn't suggest moving there. Anyways, yeah. So he just said, I said, Dad, I'm dating a girl. And he goes, you're gay? And I'm like, yep. And he goes, so I'm never going to be a grandpa? And I was like, Dad, gay people have kids all the time. Don't be so narrow-minded. And he's just like, okay. And that was that. Dad was super cool with me being a homo too. No one cared. And is it, because they knew or whatever? I don't fucking know. I don't care. They were supportive. That's all I know and care about. I don't need to know what their thought process was. They loved me. They said exactly what I needed. And so for the first time, I feel like things are going good. Like, first time in a long time, they're going good. Like, I'm happy. I'm out. I feel like I am finally fucking shedding some weird skin that I have never been able to shed before, or take off one more mask that people can truly like see me for. And I'm living and I have a supportive partner. And yeah, life's gonna improve. But on the day I move out of town, I have my U-Haul. I'm driving my truck, and I realize I need to go say goodbye to my mom because she's buried in Taft. And so she's buried 4 plots away from Justin. So I did like a little one-stop shop all the time. But what I didn't realize is when I left town is how much of I don't know if it was a good relationship or a bad relationship, but I was very, a lot of people don't and didn't know this, but I went to the cemetery daily. And, to go there for what felt like it would be the last time was very fucked in the head for me because I felt like I was losing her again. So I had a good 12-hour drive to soak that fucking in. But yeah, not being able to go to the place where I grieved her, I didn't realize how much that was going to fuck with me in the head. But nonetheless, off I went to New Mexico, and it's 3 days after Christmas. December 28th, I believe, was the day I moved to New Mexico of 2025. And yeah, so that's where we're at, guys. Sorry it took me so long. I'm so glad to be back. Thank you guys so much for your patience. Thank you for freaking staying with me, coming along. The support and just hearing you guys in the comments and like just the outpouring at Eldorado just completely invigorated me again and made me want to get back on here and share with you guys and continue my story. And I'm still so looking forward to having guests on. And as this nears up, like my next few episodes will come a lot quicker because, happiness, it only lasts this long. Sadness, we're big on the sadness over here. Happiness, my happy days were less than my sad days, but nonetheless, I have a bunch more to share. But it'll go a lot quicker because the chaos as I get older kind of lessens, which thank God, right? So I will be back again with another episode soon. Thank you guys so much. Please share, follow, like, comment, interact. If you have questions, please ask questions. And I'll be back soon. I've missed you guys. And thanks again. I'll chat with you soon. Bye-bye.